Hello, Alden Alternate here. Welcome to the Mass Media Tribe Meetup for June 2021. It is a very momentous occasion here today because we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Global Good News Challenge for June, which is very, very cool. It's something I started during COVID to help lift the energy on the planet and to help decrease depression, anxiety, and suicide rates. The stats are worldwide, about 1 million people a year worldwide take their own lives. I've personally had depression. I've had 4 friends take their own lives by the age of 45. And it's something very close to my heart because after years of working in the media, as a journalist, I've worked in TV, radio, print, and growing up watching the news every single night with my father. We'd watch about 2 hours of news every single night growing up in Sydney. I ended up depressed and very angry with the world. And, I remember one night as a kid going to my dad and crying after the news saying, why is the world so nasty? Why are people so cruel? And he hugged me and he said, that's just how the world is. And I grew up believing that's how the world is. And while there's a whole lot of dramas going on in the world that we cannot control, we can control how we're going to be about it. And getting into gratitude is one of the most powerful things we can do to help shift the way that we do life, that we experience life, and that we affect the world around us. Now, we know there's been more suicides now with COVID because some people have not handled it too well. So I believe now, more than ever, it's time for us to step up with our message, step up with our truth, to share more gratitude and good news, because it's like the yin yang of life, right? While you've got the dark side, of course, there's always been the dark side and there always will be the dark side. We also have the light side, and there's equal and opposite reaction to that, right? So the thing is to get, okay, so there's crap going on in the world. Let's focus on the good stuff. Let's celebrate the good stuff. Let's elevate our own spirits and energy to celebrate gratitude and good news. And that's part of what the Global Good News Challenge is about. And what you're at here, though, is the Mass Media Tribe Meetup. And this is something I started back in 2018. We had physical events with Mass Media Tribe events. We had them in the Gold Coast and Brisbane. And we've had different speakers coming along, helping people share their message with the world in some way. And we have an extraordinary speaker with us today. It's very exciting to have Brenda Adelman in the Zoom room here. She comes to us from San Diego. She has an extraordinary story, which I will let her share. I suggest here today, as we're talking about our stories, please do not compare your stories to others, okay? This is one of the big traps with storytelling or story showing, as a guy called Sam Cawthorn from Speakers Institute talks about story showing. And interestingly, what Sam says, now Sam lost an arm and he can barely walk in one leg from a car accident. And he said once that he found himself comparing himself to a guy who lost an arm and a leg in a shark attack, right? And he was like, oh, his story is cooler than mine because he lost his arm and leg in a shark attack, right? And, the thing is, whatever's happened, please just notice if you start to compare yourself with others. And, because the fact is your X factor is your story, right? And no one else has your story. And, one thing I do is I teach people now how to get free publicity in online and offline media. I am known as the media queen, and the media queen is about stepping up with your message. You don't need to be born into royalty to put yourself out there. And it's about celebrating your uniqueness, celebrating the power of you, celebrating the things that people know you for. I'm known for my big hair and my big smile. Okay, my nose isn't quite as big as the cartoon, but that's where, it's important to have some fun with what you do, right? And be able to laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. And this can be also a big trap for people when they're looking to get media coverage and put themselves out there and share their story in an authentic, vulnerable way from the heart, which is when we really connect, right? People have a lot of fear because they're worried about what other people will think. They're worried about how they're going to be looking, etc., particularly on camera, right? And so just notice when fear comes up for you. And that's okay. Some fear is okay. It's good. Just turn it into excitement. Just look at that fear as, oh, I'm excited, right? You've got something new happening. It's like a caterpillar coming out of the cocoon to turn into a butterfly, right? There's certain challenges that sometimes need to happen before you can become that butterfly. And I suggest whenever you notice the fear coming up, just come from love and just go, this is fantastic. I'm expanding as a human being, bring it on, right? So it's all about your attitude. So Mass Media Tribe is about that, helping you get your message out. Now, since COVID, we have gone online. Last year, we did events every 2 weeks online, and this year we're doing monthly events. We've got some extraordinary speakers already booked up for the next few months. And Brenda is someone who's incredibly busy. She's been doing a one-person show around America and online, and she's just so in demand. And we actually met on an event with Chris Howard. Some of you might know Chris Howard, the NLP trainer. Chris Howard's actually doing Brenda's course. So just to get an idea, right? And people like Ben Harvey from Authentic Education, he learned everything he knows from Chris Howard, right? So Chris Howard used to do massive events, thousands of people in Australia. He was one of the biggest NLP trainers or neuro-linguistic program trainers in Australia years ago, to thousands of people. So we're in some pretty extraordinary hands here today with Brenda. I really appreciate you being here today, Brenda. Before we hear from Brenda, though, I would love to hear from the other people in the Zoom room today, and then I will share a segment on how to get free publicity after that. So I'd love to go around the Zoom room now for everyone who is open to sharing. Before we hear from Brenda, and then we'll have some Q&A, and then we have some giveaways. So for those watching this on Facebook, if you want to join us live in the Zoom room, you need to be in Zoom to receive prizes potentially. And most of the times we have nearly everyone becomes a winner on these events on the Zoom room. So come and join us in the Zoom room if you would like. We have our registrations open right up until 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, or 9 p.m. where Brenda is in San Diego. So hop in the Zoom room if you would like. You can come in at any time in the next 2 hours. Right now, though, we are going to go around the Zoom room. And for those who would like to share, of course, you don't have to, but why not use this as a great networking opportunity for you to introduce yourself. So I'd love to hear your name, what you do, something you're grateful for, and a question about telling your story. Okay, so your name, what you do, something you're grateful for in line with the Global Good News Challenge, where people are sharing gratitude on Facebook Live, and a question about telling your story, or about storytelling or story showing, a question about that. So who would like to go first? Just put your hand up and unmute yourself. Yes, Alison, over to you.
Thanks, Aldrin, and lovely to meet everybody, and lovely to see Brenda again. And I'm a big chatterbox, so I'm a life and mindset coach. I'm into transformation of people who are not feeling good about where they are and they want to improve their life. I have a whole range of tools in my toolbox, including my NLP Masters with Chris Howard. So I'm a hypnotherapist, I'm a life coach, I'm an extended disc behavioral profiler, and what I really love doing is self-love with women. So I'm a self-love mentor, because I think when you love yourself, that's the most basic and best relationship. Because once you've got that sort of sorted, and you never get it sorted because it's a lifelong journey, then everything else in life is much more easily handled. And so that's what I do, and that's what I love. And I will be giving away an extended disc analysis package at the end of this. So thanks, Aldrin. Oh, the story. I'd like to know, Brenda, how do you, because you hear about metaphor being so powerful. And I'd like to know, how would you recommend using metaphor in your personal story? And sorry, the other thing I forgot to say, I'm grateful for being here, and I'm grateful for all the lovely people I have in my life who are supportive of me. And I'd love to get my memory back. That'd be a very good thing to be grateful for. Sorry, Brenda, off you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Alison. And just let us know where you're from as well.
I live in Canberra.
Yay, welcome from Canberra. I went to uni down there. It's freezing, although it doesn't look so cold behind you right now, which is great. In the Zoom room. Welcome, Alison from Canberra, and thank you for going first. Good on you. Awesome. All right, who'd like to go next and introduce themselves? Just put your hand up. Angelique, over to you.
Hello, my name is Angelique, also known as the Angelic Transformer, and I'm in Brisbane. So I help women who are in physical, mental, and emotional pain to have rapid, permanent, and powerful results by transforming their lives. And yes, I also use hypnosis, but it's a different technique where I actually go and refresh what's deeply buried in your subconscious through that. It's called rapid transformational therapy. And I'm very grateful for knowing Aldrin, because she's already changed my life, helping me, move forward with my work. And yeah, for meeting you all beautiful people who are all lifting the planet, which is what it's all about, because I believe that we have a revolution of love coming up that's going to clear all the bad stuff away. And my question for Brenda is, my story, I mean, I know we're not competing with our stories, like you said, Aldrin, but mine is pretty hectic. And my issue is knowing the power of your word. By telling my story again and again, I feel like I'm keeping myself there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'd like to be able to tell the story without, even though I'm completely over it and I'm not attached to it, I still feel that I would like to know how to tell my story without that feeling of me dwelling in the past. That makes sense.
That's a great one, and I'll definitely be able to fit that into the training too. Yeah,
smashing. Thank you so much. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Angelique from Brisbane. Welcome. Excellent. Love all of that. And who would like to go next now? Just hand up there. Who would like to go next? It's good to see everyone stepping up, introducing themselves. Michelle, I can see you're unmuted. Sandra, you put your hand up. So how about we go to Sandra? Since you put your hand up, we'll go to Sandra and then Michelle. Okay, so we've got in the chat there, Michelle says, Sandra, just unmute yourself. Now, what we want to hear is your name, what you do, where you're from as well, and something you're grateful for, and a question about storytelling or telling your story. Sandra, over to you.
Yeah, hi, my name's Sandra Hayward. I'm on the Gold Coast. I'm a hypnotherapist and coach as well. Seems to be a few of us on here today. So I empower people, empower others to succeed and to help them live their best life. And I am grateful for lots of things, but today I'm grateful for technology and the opportunity to be here and to listen to and meet amazing people. And question about story is, I'm not sure how much to share when telling the story. Thank you.
Great, Sandra, that is an excellent question too, how much to share, because we can all go on and on and on about our story, can't we? And we don't want to hear every part of your story. We just want to get straight to the point sometimes, right? And then to make that engaging, how do you keep that engaging for people,
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sandra. Excellent. Now, Michelle, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Michelle Pavel. I am in Brisbane, and it's a little bit rainy today and a little bit overcast, but it's still nice. We needed it. For what I do, I would say I help businesses identify the areas of their business that need structure around making sure that they're reducing their costs and increasing their profits as much as possible. And I help them create collaboration partnerships that are lucrative win-win opportunities. I'm grateful, this week specifically, I'm grateful for the success of my children. So my two youngest children, who are adults, have both had some amazing things happen to them this week. So I'm very happy that everyone's sort of going down the right path, and that's working out nicely. And my question for Brenda is, I'm an introvert, so to do this today is freaking me out. But I'm an introvert and I feel uncomfortable when I'm telling my story, and I sometimes fumble with what I've got to say, even though I've practiced it 2,000 times. So I wanted to know how you can come across confident even though you don't feel confident.
That's a great question. Excellent question there, Michelle. Confidence is massive for anyone sharing their story or who's ready to step up with their message in the media, online or offline, or even sometimes at birthday parties and weddings and funerals, even, making speeches, stepping up, having the confidence to do that even is huge. So thank you, Michelle. Awesome. All right, who'd like to go next? Just show me. Colin, over to you. Colin Mackey.
Evening and morning, wherever you are around the world. So Colin Mackey's the name. I usually build franchise systems. I've done numerous things over the years, and I've had lots of years, unfortunately. But what I discovered, I used to run workshops in cairns 40 years ago called Motivation and Sales. Then a few years later, I bought a franchise called Success Motivation Institute, which comes out of the States. I learned lots of stuff from that. And during my franchise experience, franchise companies would invite me in to help them move to the next level. And in most instances, I found that it was the franchisees had mental blocks. The perfect story is here on the Gold Coast. Franchise system was a bookkeeping system, and they just collapsed in a heap. And the reason was quite simple, was that the bulk of the bookkeepers in the system were ladies, and they all had negative thoughts. They had to go out and sell, and because they had to go out and sell, they're at the opposite end of the psychological spectrum. You've got bookkeepers and accountants on this end, and you've got salespeople on that end, and salespeople are liars and cheats and all sorts of horrible things. So these ladies, mostly ladies, had this negative thinking. So I developed a range of what I called little voice workshops. Michelle mentioned a little minute ago that she doesn't like speaking in public. Well, that's exactly the sort of thing that we fix. That little voice comes from your amygdala, and we help to fix that. So I'm now running these little workshops, these little voice workshops, until I can go home to Thailand, because I'm stuck here at the moment. What I'm grateful for is I've been married a couple of times. When I was married first, I was 17. I was a terrible parent. The second time, I decided that the first thing I wanted to do was to make the children better than us. And I mean better in the way of compassion and love and empathy. And I have succeeded in that. So that's something I'm very grateful for. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Colin. And you're in Thailand, are you? Is that right? Stuck in Thailand? Just unmute yourself.
I usually live in Thailand. I live in the north of Thailand. I've lived up there for 7 years up in the mountains in northern Thailand. My daughter was pregnant with, and that was the other thing on that story, is that what I taught my daughter, she is now teaching her 3 girls. So I came over to help her with her 3rd pregnancy in January last year, and I can't get home. And I have a family and a business and everything in Thailand. So I'm making do with it at the moment by hopefully helping particularly ladies overcome. Most of the ladies were ladies who were empty nest, menopausal. They'd probably been badly treated by their husband, maybe not physically, but mentally. So this was a really exceptionally good way for them to refocus and rebuild their lives.
Got it. Okay, and you're on the Gold Coast now then, is that right?
Yeah.
You're stuck here, can't get back to Thailand.
Yeah,
all right,
it's
well,
terrible, terrible.
It's not a bad place to be stuck, I
No,
must
that's
say.
right.
You know, Gold Coast is a pretty extraordinary place.
Yeah.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for sharing. Awesome. I know Colin's a very studious man, does lots of amazing things. So he's just touched the tip of the iceberg there with his story today. All right, thank you, Colin. Now, who else? We've got a few more people. Who else would like to share and do an introduction? Yes, Ruth, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Hi everyone. I'm Ruth. I've just literally just found this in my inbox and jumped on here, and here I am. So apologies if I shut my camera down occasionally. I have got actually some client calls and things to make this morning, so this was not planned, but I'm really happy to be here when I can. So that's great. I also work with women. I work with women around their well-being. I'm a meditation teacher. I work with thought field therapy, and I'm a self-esteem coach. And I work with women really to give them a toolbox of skills so that they can take care of their well-being and unlock more of their potential, you know, whether that be being a better mother or advancing their career or whatever area of their life they want to do that in. What am I grateful for? I am incredibly grateful for Zoom. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. We are back in shutdown again, and all my family, apart from my husband, are in Europe. Our kids are in Europe, everyone's in Europe. So I haven't seen them for 1.5 years, and we live through Zoom. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for the man who devised Zoom. I believe he's a Chinese man called Eric someone, who I will look up eventually and try and send him an email and thank him. And question around stories. I guess I would really love to know, I don't have a overly dramatic story to tell. I haven't had major things impact me in my life. Although people, when I tell my stories, people go, well, that's fairly major. But I think what I want to know is how to tell a story with the maximum impact for it to land in the way that I want it to land. So that it doesn't need to be necessarily sensational, but to get my audience to come along with me. Yeah. Thank you.
Nice. I like it, Ruth. And where are you based?
I'm in Melbourne.
Oh, Melbourne, you said. That's right. Melbourne, where it's locked down again.
Lockdown again, yes. And I also may be jumping off because I had my vaccine yesterday and I feel terrible. So
yes, yes.
Not that that's a reason not to have it, but I just, I don't feel great.
Got it. Yes, yes. Well, I think anytime you're jabbing your body with something foreign, you're going to have some side effects of some sort, right? I had a tetanus shot.
I had the second shot about 5 days ago, and it did put me down for like 4 days.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling much better. So definitely rest.
Yeah.
You have to. But after I do my training.
Yeah. Okay.
No, there'll be a replay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. And, I often joke with Melbourne, on the Melbourne number plates, Victorian number plates, it says on the move. And I always say on the move to Queensland, because that's where half of Melbourne seem to be in. And Melbourne people are running away to Queensland at the moment to get away from all the lockdown. And I do feel for you in Melbourne. I must say I have a lot of friends in Melbourne and I love Melbourne. And it's just been such a shame to see what's happened with the lockdowns down there. And I know in other parts of the world too, it's can be very frustrating, and I totally get it. And that's why, think about people in war times, where they had bombs going off outside, and things can always be worse, right? So as much as we may not like the current situation, things can always be worse. So let's be grateful for the freedoms we still do have, and what we can do now with our current situation. And this too will pass, I say. I'm hopeful that this whole drama will pass shortly and things will be back to normal, or maybe a new kind of normal. So thank you, Ruth, for joining us from Melbourne. All right. And now, Madison, I think you're the only other one that hasn't shared here. Would you like to share? Introduce yourself. Beautiful. Welcome.
So I'm firstly, I'm a writer, director, producer and actor as well. So my life revolves around storytelling, which a lot of my story goes into as well. Presently, I'm grateful for the time I have been able to get to do a project I'm working on. So I'm really grateful for that and being in a position to be able to focus my full attention on that. A little bit about my story. I've been in entertainment and media since I was about 4 or 5 years old, started professionally that young as well. So been in the industry a long time, seen many changes. The last 10, 15 years has been huge changes in the industry, which are really exciting. And hoping with the project I'm doing right now, there's going to be a good impact. It is, it's very socially aware, very environmentally aware, talks about new ways of looking at race and culture and how we can move forward into the future without separating ourselves as humans and bringing us as a race together rather than constantly being divided by that. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, and thought this would be a great space to come and listen to everyone else's stories.
Brilliant. And where are you based, Madison?
On the Gold Coast at the moment, just moved from Sydney.
Okay, welcome. I'm ex-Sydney as well. I grew up in Sydney. So that's the other thing, is that New South Wales people are on the move to Queensland as well. Yeah, Angelique as well. Well, welcome. And do you have a question for Brenda around storytelling?
Yeah, I do. I'd ask, I suppose, Brenda, how she brings authenticity and to her story. You know, it's hard to share. It's hard to have opinions based around your life experience. How do you bring that to the table and make that interesting and, you know, not give anyone the, you know, shits with a, you know, a view of politics or a view on the way you are and how that story's impacted your life? How do you do that nice and subtly and let everyone, you know, be able to either read, see or hear that from a positive angle?
Great question. Excellent, Madison. Thank you so much. Are you near Movie World somewhere or on the Gold Coast?
Just on the Broadwater, so we're not far.
Very nice. Yeah, nothing's far on the Gold Coast. You know, Sydney, it's an hour to get to your nearest suburb, just about.
The traffic's amazing. It's like you're just driving going, oh, this is beautiful. There's no peak hour or anything.
Yes. I think you'll live longer too, living on the Gold Coast. We have 37 kilometres of beaches here. It's extraordinary. It's, if you like the ocean, the Gold Coast is stunning. So I must say I'm very grateful to live here 21 years. So actually part of my story, here we go. I'll just share a little something from my past. I actually only planned to be on the Gold Coast for 1 or 2 years. I moved here in January 2000. I had a job as a sub-editor at the Gold Coast Bulletin. And before that, I'd worked in newspapers in Mackay, Coffs Harbour, Toowoomba and radio and some TV in all these different places around Australia. I kind of travelled every year or two. You know, we get in these habits in life where we tend to, you know, travel. We have these habits. I was staying about a year or two in each place and moving on. And Gold Coast was only a year or two, planned to stay here. And then I wanted to go live in America, Brenda, believe it or not. My goal was to go live in America, live the media dream in America. And then what happened in 2002, I went to rent this place in Main Beach. It was right across from the water. And I gave this guy bond money, rent money to rent this place. And it turned out the guy was actually renting. And he ran off with my $1,000. I was so devastated at the time. I'd been conned. I couldn't believe I'd been conned like this. I cried for about a week. I couldn't tell anybody about it. I was so embarrassed. How could I fall for this? And what happened is I thought, right, that's it. I'm not going to rent anymore. And I bought a house in Southport. And at the time, I didn't really like the house. It didn't have much character. My dad said, you can always add character to the house. And so I bought this house in Southport and I'm still in this house to this day, 19 years on. I'm in the same house. I've fully renovated it. I've added a hell of a lot of character to it. And that came out of that dramatic situation in 2002. And it was a young surfy looking guy called Lee, and the police knew him, and he had a young pregnant girlfriend. And even though the case was closed by the police, right, I never got my money back. But you know what? I am so grateful for that situation now, because I might have lost $1,000, but because I now invested in property, if I was to sell this property, I would make at least 100,000. Right. So isn't it interesting how sometimes life throws curveballs and, you know, we make plans and God laughs, as they say, right? And often out of the biggest adversity or the biggest breakdown can come the biggest breakthrough or opportunity. And that's part of what I believe makes an inspiring story, right, is sharing where you've had some real lows and how you've overcome that and created some highs. And talking of highs, I am now going to share 7 scientific benefits of gratitude. Back to gratitude again, right? Thank you for sharing your gratitudes. Feel free to pop in the chat too. People watching on Facebook too. Hello to our Facebook viewers. We've got Miles Lowe here saying hello from Alberta, Canada on Facebook. Welcome, Miles. And you are welcome, of course, to hop on to our live Zoom. We're going for another hour and 20 minutes or so. If anyone would like to join us on this live, and just keep sharing gratitude as much as possible. You might want to share some more gratitude in the chat on Zoom as well. Feel free to keep sharing gratitude. And as you're doing that, just get scientifically, it is proven that there's 7 steps scientifically proven. First thing is gratitude opens the door to more relationships. Scientifically proven, okay? Next thing is it improves your physical health. Gratitude improves your physical health. Now, this comes from a Forbes.com article, and you can read all the background on all these scientific benefits. I will share the link into the chat here and on Facebook. So gratitude improves your physical health. It improves your psychological health. It enhances empathy and reduces aggression. The 5th thing is that grateful people sleep better. The 6th scientific benefit of gratitude is that it improves your self-esteem. And the 7th is it increases your mental strength. Fantastic article that I found on Forbes.com, and I'll put that right now into the chat. And now I'm going to present to you the How to Gain Free Publicity presentation. Who has not seen me present before? Who's not seen me present? Just a show of hands. Okay, Brenda, kind of. Yeah, Michelle. All right. Okay, so some of you, if you've seen me present something similar to this, then I suggest keep an open mind, because I never know what's going to quite come out of my mouth when I am presenting. Okay, so I may share some gold today that you might not have heard before. It'll just go for around 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to have Brenda's presentation. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now. All righty, share screen. Here we are. Sharing the screen, there it is. Can you see that clear? We'll see that. All right, beautiful. Excellento. Okay, well, welcome to the presentation on how to gain free publicity. All right, I'm going to give you some golden tips here. Insider knowledge I've gained from 37 years in the media. Yes, that's correct, 37 years. I know I look about 25, thank you very much. I actually started when I was 10. I was a top table tennis player in Sydney, a junior table tennis player, and I got interviewed by the Manly Daily at age 10. I was on Cartoon Connection at age 11, and then I did a radio show at 13 and went on and worked in the media, in TV, radio and print for over 25 years. So not quite like Madison here, who started at 5. I'm really curious how she started at 5, or what was she in the media for at 5 years of age? I'll pop that in the chat if you like there, Madison. Very curious. All right. So the journey that people go on when it comes to, you know, sharing your story or putting yourself out in any way, stepping up and out with your message, the journey that people go on, and you may be right here, right now, is you might feel like the world's best kept secret. Is that you right now? Do you feel like the world's best kept secret? This is my rocket ship model of the journey to free publicity. The next thing you do is you actually start, right? So 50% of anything you do is just starting. So being here today is perfect. You being here listening to this message, if it's time for you to step up with your story, then starting is 50% of the way there. And as you start and you learn more about getting publicity, or you might hire a PR agent and you start to get some local media coverage, I always suggest, if you haven't had any media coverage, just start locally, because your local media will always be looking for stories from local people doing great things. And then you get some steady progress. You get a few runs on the board, you start to get a few media hits, maybe some major magazines or some radio shows or podcasts, and you're getting out there, you're becoming more and more known, and then you shoot for the stars. Next thing you know, you've got some major coverage, maybe a morning show on TV or a massive podcast going out to millions of people. You shoot for the stars, you start to be sought out for your message, and next thing you know, you are a star. There you go. There's the journey, right? And it is a journey. It's important to be patient with this journey as well, okay? Don't expect things to happen overnight. Although for Robert Kiyosaki, back on the 27th of April 2000, 3 years after he put Rich Dad, Poor Dad out, he appeared on Oprah on that day. And after the 1 hour show, Oprah turned to him and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad. We've just sold you 1 million books." And at the time, he was making $5 per book. So that's $5 million he just made at the end of the 1 hour show, which is extraordinary. And the fact that it was 3 years after he put the book out. So it doesn't matter if you've done products from a while ago, if you've got books out or different programs that you've put out a while ago, if people don't know about it, then any time is a good time to get it out there, right? So it's never too late. And if you're time poor in any way, you're time poor and overwhelmed, then you really want to be using the power of the media to leverage yourself. Right? Leverage yourself so you can reach masses of people with your message. Now, there's certain keys to success you will need to get free publicity and to put yourself out there. First is passion. What are you passionate about? For me, I'm very passionate about inspiring more truth and good news in the world. And also, I'm a very passionate animal lover. And I've actually created events in line with my passion, which I've actually gained millions of dollars worth of free publicity from these events that I've created. So the Global Good News Day I created on the 8th of the 8th, 18. So we're now coming up to our 4th anniversary of the Global Good News Day. And the Global Good News Challenge started last June. And there's monthly Facebook Live challenges where people share their name, what they do, 3 things they're grateful for, and a piece of good news. on a Facebook Live for each day of however many days the challenge goes for. And we've got our next one starting June 7 next week. So what are you passionate about? So I started those two because I wanted to help decrease depression, anxiety, and suicide rates and lift the energy on the planet. Now, the other thing I'm really passionate about is animal welfare. And for years, I saw animal cruelty. And every time I've seen animal cruelty, I've been so upset and angered by it. And I thought, what can I do to make a difference for animals? And so in 2007, after watching the Earthlings DVD, the Earthlings video, you can actually see it online. It was narrated by Jaquan Phoenix. It talks about how we've used animals for food, clothing, scientific research for years. Some really hard to watch footage. I was literally holding my throat and crying at the end of it. I was so impacted by this documentary. And a lot of people say, I can't watch those kind of documentaries, right? Well, sometimes we need to be shocked to take action, right? And so I watched this documentary, Earthlings. I then did a landmark program called Self-Expression and Leadership course. Now, this 3.5-month course, people have created Clean Up Australia Day out of it, Red Nose Day, Are You OK Day, Daffodil Day have come out of people that have done this landmark course. And I thought, okay, I'll put on a fun day for animals. So I created the world's first Animal Action Day in 2007. And it's a day of awareness, appreciation, respect for animals. We've now done 14 annual events, raising funds for different charities. I'm so grateful for everyone who has participated in that, because sometimes these things we're passionate about, sometimes there's such big issues. We think, what can I do as little old me to make a difference in this area? And if we all think that, if we all put our arms up and think, well, what can we do as little old me to make a difference, then nothing is going to shift. But if we all just do something, whether it's signing a petition against whaling, whether it's having your pet washed, whether it's just sharing a post, an inspiring post about animals online, there's something we can all do that doesn't take too much effort, that can make a difference. You don't have to go out and create your own event, although that is a great way to get publicity. You can align yourself and align your business and your message with someone who's already doing something you're passionate about and support a cause, right? So the last year we did the 14th Animal Action event. We did a 5-hour live stream. We had over 15 performers and speakers from all over the world. If you go to the Animal Action Events Facebook page, pinned to the top of the page, you'll be able to see that. And we raised money for Southeast Queensland Canine Rescue, which is a charity based between Gold Coast and Brisbane that rescues dogs from death row. So what happens if dogs are found here in Australia on the street? They're taken to the pound. Often if the dogs aren't collected within 7 days, they put the dogs down. And so this charity has actually saved 1,800 dogs' lives within the 4 years it's been operating. So that was our cause last year. So that's something you can do also to get free publicity, is to tie in what you're doing with your passion. Next thing is your purpose. The next key to success here is, what is your purpose? What are you here for? And often I find a good place to look is, what is it that moves you to the core? And I think if you're moved to the core by something, whether it's you're moved, if you're saddened or you're inspired or you're angered or, you're moved in some way, I believe it's a calling to actually act on that. So just notice when things move you in life, and possibly your purpose may be tied in with that. Next thing is package. You need to package up what you're doing in a way that journalists are going to find it interesting and newsworthy. Now, if you pitch something that's too commercial, the journalist or the media outlet will just say, go take out an ad and pay thousands of dollars. You're getting 22 times more eyeballs, more people looking at stories versus ads. So why would you go pay thousands of dollars for ads when people aren't even looking at it? They switch off. People switch off with TV ads, radio ads. They switch off. So you want to be getting the free publicity, getting the journalist attention. And there's a way to package up what you do in your story to get the free publicity. And you will need some good visuals. You'll need a good press release, and you'll need to pitch it effectively. They're the 3 main points here in the package. And then profile. What happens when people Google you? Are you Google-licious, as they say, right? What happens? What's your messaging across the board? Do you have consistent messaging and branding? And this will all help you stand out in a very crowded marketplace online, is to have consistent branding and have a high profile, build your profile online. And then people, everything is done with relationships. Now, we've got an intimate group here today at Mass Media Tribe on the Zoom event, and we have more people watching online. Now, just one contact could take things exponential for you, right? One key contact in your life, and you just never know who the people here know. This is why we had our little introduction as well at the beginning, because you just never know. who might be drawn to you or might want to collaborate with you that could take things exponential for you, or that you could help each other out, right? So people is key. Relationships with journalists is key as well. They're human beings just like you and I. The main difference is they are very stressed out. They're on deadline constantly. There's a 5-year burnout with journalists. And sometimes they can be quite rude and cranky, right? And it's not got nothing to do with you, but it's got to do with the fact they're on deadline and they're flat out. And that's why there's certain times of day to pitch to media as well. And you do not want to be doing it when they're on deadline, which is usually in the afternoon, right? So ideally pitch in the morning, depending on the show or where you're going to. Mornings are best times to pitch. There's a process to getting publicity too that I will outline shortly. And then Propel, once you get your publicity, how do you then make the most of that publicity to get it out far and wide so that you reach a wider audience? And so you celebrate your media wins. And often what happens is when you do get some media coverage, media feed off other media. Media feed off other media, okay? So you'll find that once you start to get some runs on the board and once the media start to know you, that they will come back to you looking for comment. And I know Brenda's had a hell of a lot of media coverage, haven't you, Brenda? You've been all over the place. It's been extraordinary. So I'm sure you could share on this topic as well. So I have the awesome media magic formula. Now it does come in the shape of a wand. And the awesome all stands for something. This is my magic media wand. And this is to remind you that anything is possible for you. Okay. And if there's other people right now in your industry that are in the media known as experts and not you, then why not you, right? Why not you? And perhaps it's time that we started to know more about you, right? So the A of the awesome steps is to articulate your story, which is perfect. Today we're talking about making your story unforgettable, right? You need to be very clear on what it is you want to promote. Is it a product? Is it a service? And what is your story around that? Okay, what is your story around that? So articulate your story. Next thing is to work the angles of your story. The media work with newsworthy angles. Now, newsworthy has the word new in it, right? What is something new and interesting? Now, if you haven't shared your X Factor story yet, that is only unique to you, then there's a great angle there potentially, right? Great story and angle you can tie in with what it is you want to promote. And it needs to be obviously non-commercial, okay? So there's a trick to that too. Elevate your profile. The E is for elevate your profile, okay? Now that is where you package up what you do. So that's where you look at your visuals, your press release, and your pitch. Now you can get publicity without a press release. You just increase the chances of the journalist getting the facts wrong, okay? And they do get facts wrong all the time, okay? So you want to make their job easier for them. The reason they get their facts wrong is because they're flat out on deadline and they can't double check everything because they just don't have the time or resources to do it often. And often what's happening now with a lot of media outlets is they're taking on cadet young journalists, right, just out of uni. And, you know, there isn't the same kind of quality control as with some of the older school journalists that used to be around, right, that used to, you know, come from a real traditional sort of media background where there was a lot more quality content. You know, now it seems to be not so much quality content. So the easier you can make it for them, the better. And that's in elevate your profile and how you package yourself up. Now, the S of the awesome steps is to startle the media. Now, Richard Branson, PR stunt king, is brilliant at this. And he did things such as dress in a spacesuit to launch the Virgin Galactic venture, right? He dressed in a wedding dress to launch the Virgin Brides venture. So what can you do that's out there that can really get the media's attention? And because the media don't just want to educate anymore, they also want to entertain. And the more entertaining you can be with your message and how you package yourself up, the more they're going to love you, right? And you'll get more airtime. The O of the awesome steps is to own your power. Own your power. It's absolutely perfect that you are where you are right now. Everything has brought you to this point. And I'm grateful for that. I am so grateful for everything that has brought us to this point right now. So own your power. Celebrate your uniqueness. And then once you do that, and you may, you know, here in this step, you may, if you have any fear around getting into the media, you may want to look at getting some healing around that, right? Because if you've got, you know, issues from the past that are unresolved, then, you know, you'll be bringing that forward with you. So ideally, you want to be clearing the past and clearing any anger or resentment or any of that you have for others in your life, letting that go, because hurt people, right? Hurt people, hurt people. If anyone's being nasty to you right now, most likely they're hurting. So just send them off with love, right? Do what you need to do. Speak your mind in an assertive way. You can speak your mind and be clear without yelling your head off or throwing things at people. Okay. All right. So own your power in a quiet, peaceful way, like the Karate Kid, right? Or like Jesus, the Jesus story, right? Whether you believe in Jesus or not, you know, think of Jesus on the cross and how he said, you know, forgive them, they know not what they do, when he was being attacked. And, you know, that having that kind of power, that owning that inner power that actually is within and all around us. It's just a matter of tapping into it, right? M is mastering interviews. So once you own your power and you've done all these steps and you're clear on your message, you can then master interviews. And there's certain things to do before, during, and after interviews that I don't have time to go into right now, but there are certain things that absolutely you can make the most of your interviews. Now with radio and TV, you've got 3 to 5 minutes to get your message across, unless it's a news show, in which case you've got up to about a minute. And so they're only going to get your best grab or your best few grabs that they're going to actually put in there. So having a succinct, clear message, and it's perfect that Brenda is speaking today about making your story unforgettable, because to get that out in a quick, succinct way for media particularly is quite an art form, right? And we'll be hearing about that hopefully today with Brenda. And then E is explode your impact. Once you get that publicity, make sure that you promote that on your website, on your social media, celebrate your wins in the media, always thank the journalist, always, and put photos up on social media, tag the journalist, tag the media outlet to expand and explode your reach even further. Then once you do all those things, the benefits are that you will have fame. Now, you might not want to be famous like Hugh Jackman, or Russell Crowe, or Cyndi Lauper, some of the people I've had the fortune to interview. You may not want to be like that. You might just want to be famous in your industry. You will then be able to attract more money for what you do, right? Because you'll have that profile and authority and trust that comes with the third-party credibility of the media. You will then have more freedom to do more of what you want when you want. And my favorite benefit is actually leaving a legacy. You'll be able to leave a legacy with what you do. So that's a quick snapshot on how to get free publicity. I actually do a whole 4-hour masterclass on this topic, and I have one coming up on June 23. We only have a 10-minute break in the 4 hours. It's intensive. There's a lot of amazing content there. So if you are interested in that, I recommend check out freeprsecrets.com and come along to the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. I've had 5-star reviews from different events that I've run over 4 hours. I used to do a physical event with the workshops. I've done workshops on how to gain $1 million worth of free publicity. I've done them in Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Brisbane, in LA, in Thailand, in New Zealand, in Namibia, in places all around the world. I did physical workshops before COVID, and now we are online. So people can hop on very easily now and learn insider secrets that I've gained from my 37 years in the media. Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. I do not hold back on content. You get heaps. All right, so here it is here. It's Wednesday, June 23. This is Australian Eastern Standard Time, 9 to 1 p.m. In America, it will be June 22, nighttime for you over there, or afternoon coming into nighttime. So that's the masterclass details, freeprsecrets.com to get all the details on that. And yes, we do have a recording for those wondering. There is a recording, a VIP option there where you can purchase the recording for $19.95 with the slides as well. All right, I also have a mass media mastery program if you want to work more one-on-one with me or want extra support, and that is on my website, aaexpose.com. If you just go to the services tab there, you'll see the different options there for the mass media mastery program. And I guarantee publicity with what I do. I don't know any other PR people anywhere in the world that guarantee publicity. That's how confident I am with what I do. And if you follow the steps that I teach, you will get publicity. And in fact, my guarantee in the Mass Media Mastery program is if you don't get publicity and you join the program, I will work with you for free until you do. So that's a pretty crazy guarantee, right? And I back what I say. And for anyone who's really serious about getting publicity and you want that support, then I'm here for you. Okay, so that's the place to go to get that. And also the Global Good News Challenge, another great way to promote yourself, coming up June 7 next week. Just go to the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Pinned to the top of the page is all the details on how to get involved in that. And I'll pop the link into the chat here too. Very simple Facebook Live for 6 days for June. Just share your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. Now, when you do this, please hashtag Global Good News Challenge, and we will then share from your profile or the Loving Life group. If you don't want to do it on your profile, then you can do it in the Loving Life group. We will share it onto our Global Good News Challenge page, and everyone who participates will also add you to a private group with other Good News Crusaders. And that's a Global Good News Challenge private group as well that you'll be added to. And it is a great way to promote yourself, to lift your energy. It's phenomenal how you feel when you share gratitude. It is so powerful. It's so simple and so powerful when you speak it out. Don't just write it down or think about it. I mean, sure, that's great, you know, thinking and writing down what you're grateful for. But when you actually speak it out, I'm so grateful today for blah, whatever it is, it's incredibly powerful to shift your vibration and shift the energy on the planet. So that is huge. Now, the world is your oyster. And this is my last slide. Shine bright. Power of One is one of my favorite movies, actually, if you've seen that movie. I believe in the power of one, and I believe in you. May your flame burn bright and light up all those around you. Thank you so much. As Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. And as I say, shine bright and light up all those around you. There you go. There's my little segment. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So what are some things we got out of that before we bring Brenda on to do her presentation? What is something we got out of that? Who'd like to share? Just unmute yourself. If you'd like to share what you just got out of that presentation. We'll see how well you're listening now. What did you get out of that? Who'd like to unmute and just share? What did you get out of there? Well, something you got out of that. Colin, you're unmuted.
Yes, I got lots out of that. Hopefully I can use it, but I'll have to find television shows and radio shows that just deal with silly old codgers, maybe. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of over 50s media, believe it or not, Colin. There's actually, there's 1,600 magazines just in Australia alone. There's 2 million podcasts worldwide. There are so many opportunities. It doesn't matter what topic, what your story is, there will be a media outlet or a journalist right now looking for your story.
No, that's good. I did a podcast the other day and it was very successful. So hopefully there'll be a few more coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin. Excellent, excellent. Alison says the 4-hour session is fabulous. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Angelique. Aldwin, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the love. Really appreciate it. Angelique saying, yes, one has to let go of whatever is deeply buried in subconscious, even what has been forgotten or ignored, or it will keep popping its ugly head and create chaos in your life. Yes. By the way, that's exactly what I do, usually in just one session. Awesome, Angelique. That's great. So if you want to own your power and get over your stuff, then see Angelique. Brilliant. Alison, the whole media news cycle is so much faster now with technology, so less time for fact checks. Yes, that's so true too, Alison. Absolutely. Oh, and Madison, you started as an actor at 5. Wow, extraordinary. Very, very cool. A child actor. I love it. Love it. And lots of gratitude in there. Family, spending more time at home. Beautiful, beautiful. Anyone else want to unmute themselves, share what they got out of that presentation? Who would like to? Who's game here? Yes, Alison, over to you.
I'm happy to pardon my dog in the background.
Okay. He's just sharing gratitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I actually would like to share, and this is in a way a plug, I did Aldrin's 4-hour workshop, and it was awesome. So what you just sort of told us in that quick burst, Aldrin, you go into so much more detail. So I did take a few notes, but I was kind of fine because I thought, you know what, I've already got the detailed notes from before. So if you haven't done it, guys, I highly recommend it.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Alison. Thank you very much. And I'll pay you later. That's awesome. Actually, no, I haven't paid her to say that, but thank you. I really appreciate that, Alison. I do give a lot of content. You know, people say, oh, do workshops and just give people the what and the why and don't give them the how. Well, I give a hell of a lot of how. So, you know, and some people say, oh, that can be overwhelming for people. And yes, it can. And, you know, some people have left my workshops and gone straight out and got publicity. And, you know, good on them. They've taken action, you know, and if people want to work with me and have extra support, well, I'm here for them, you know. So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Alison. Angelique, yes, just unmute yourself there.
And again, piggybacking on what Alison said, you know, I've actually started to work with Aldrin people. And I tell you what, I have tried to, you know, connect with other people to help me with my social media. And I really didn't get anywhere. I did, you know, I did move forward and everything, but this is just like second to none. This is just outstanding. And I've only just started working. Honestly, I cannot praise Aldrin enough. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Angelique, sharing the love with you.
I would deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. And I do give from the heart. I actually do care. I'm not one of these people that will just sell a course and then see you later. I'm here to hold your hand, and step by step, I will do everything to support you to get publicity if you want to learn how to do it, right? Or, some people do pay me to do all the PR for them. I'm very selective with who I take on for clients, where I become like their marketing manager and do that. And not everyone has the budget for that, right? So if you want to, get support in a really cost-effective way, the Mass Media Mastery Program is definitely the way to go. So, and you can't go wrong with guaranteed media coverage, right? If you spend money on ads, you are just wasting money. And that includes digital advertising too nowadays, right? You're not getting the cut through. I don't know many people getting great results from their Facebook ads or Instagram ads or YouTube. If you want to really stand out, free publicity is one of the best ways you can do it, to get that authority, to build that trust, particularly now so many people are online and people are losing trust. They don't know who to trust anymore, right? So having that third-party credibility is huge, and you're leaving a legacy every time you get any media coverage, which is awesome. You're inspiring yourself, your team, and others around you. It's very, very cool. So thank you for those beautiful comments. Thank you so much. Well, let's get on to, and if you do have any other comments you want to share, just pop in the chat on Facebook or in Zoom of what you got out of that. And can't wait to hear from Brenda now. So I'm going to introduce Brenda, and then we'll have her share her screen shortly. All right, so a little bit about Brenda. Now, she is a phenomenal lady. She has such presence about her. I was on this Chris Howard event and I thought, who is that lady? And she looked at me and thought, who is that lady? And so we both had this mutual love affair going on from, and I'm not into women in that way, by the way, but
it was the big hair, I think. Okay, sorry.
Not in that way. I think women are extraordinary, but I like men too much. So anyway, but yeah, there was just amazing presence about Brenda, and she actually runs a workshop called Forgiving the Unforgivable. She's the daughter of a Jewish father and an artist mother. She grew up in the Mill Basin section of Brooklyn in New York. A fan of Broadway shows since childhood, she studied acting at several prestigious schools in London, New York, and Los Angeles. In 1995, her mother, an award-winning artist and photographer, was shot to death in her home. Brenda's father pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and served 2.5 years in prison. Afterwards, Brenda, along with her brother, filed a wrongful death suit against her father and won. But her father died of a heart attack before the awarded damages could be collected. With a degree in spiritual psychology, Brenda wrote a one-woman show called My Brooklyn Hamlet, based on her life story. She has performed this show all around the world, often in conjunction with the V-Day, the movement founded by Eve Ensler, dedicated to stopping violence towards women. Oh, so intense, Brenda. Thank you so much for joining us. And now please welcome Brenda Adelman from San Diego. Yay, over to you, Brenda.
Hey, well, a few things on that. Did you mention that my father married my aunt?
No, that's not mentioned.
No. He married my mother's sister, and that's why my one-woman show was called My Brooklyn Hamlet, because of the analogy to Hamlet. In Hamlet, his father is killed by his uncle, and then his uncle marries his mother. And actually knowing that about Shakespeare, when I felt so alone, I felt like nobody lived through anything I did. So a couple of months after my father killed my mom, he moved in with my aunt and then married her. And but what I will say also is that my one-woman show, and I'll talk a little bit about it in the presentation, came out of a desire to share my story and share my truth. When I was for so long, I was already an actress in a top acting class in Los Angeles. There was a storytelling class. I did not on stage, but something bigger than me called me because I was hiding. I was depressed for like years. And when I went on stage, I got it was 100 people in class, got a standing ovation. A director wanted to work with me. It like had a life of its own. And most importantly, I think, in addition to the standing ovation, was that people came up to me afterwards and told me that something I shared healed them, even though they didn't have the same story. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing my story everywhere I can, and why I'm so passionate about teaching students, clients to share their story in a way that only you can do. My story is now about forgiveness, but what is your message? It's all about messaging. I couldn't do it for myself because I was filled with shame and I didn't know what I was going to say and I didn't know how it would be received. I tapped into and tuned into, not even knowing it at the time, that legacy that Aldrin was talking about. Like, I can help someone else. So if I can't do it for myself right now, I'm going to do it for someone else. So I have a pretty big presentation for you guys, a lot of how. And so maybe I should just start with that. I'm going to try to address several of these questions because they're right in alignment with my 3-step process. So let me just do that. Let's see, share screen. And if I get kicked off for some reason with the internet, I'll come back on my cell phone. Hopefully it'll be fine.
Awesome. We've got what a story. People are blown away by your story, Brenda, which I'm sure you hear all the time. Extraordinary.
Yes, I hear it all the time. And that's why I was so glad earlier someone said, don't ever compare anything, because, and I'll say this before I start, you know, I was afraid people would not be able to relate to my story because it was too big. And then I have a lot of clients who come to me with that. They've lived through really big things. And then the other side is people who think they don't have anything dramatic enough or compelling enough. And it's never true. Like one of you were saying on the screen right now earlier, when you think you have nothing and then your friends or colleagues are like, of course you have something. So one of the things that I do with my clients is I help them find those key events that happened in their life, turn them into stories, because an event is not a story. An event is like a newsworthy thing, but then people come back and hire you. But I help connect it to what your business is, or like Alden was saying, what is it that you want to promote? Okay, so, okay, I'll put it on play, not even knowing what my next slide is. So here we go. This is like improv. Here we go. Discovering my 3-step success system for making your story unforgettable, even if your story feels emotional or unsafe, so that you can spread your message across the world, express yourself fully and make money in the process, which is what I have been doing for many years now. Alden was talking about, got a lot of press because of I've done my show and spoken as a keynote in 4 countries and 10 states, that's pre-COVID, for over 12,000 people, a variety of organizations. It's also about messaging, so you can find the organization that you can speak for. But then most recently, I had a theater, someone who saw me do my show years ago, invite me to do it in Los Angeles with a 3-camera shoot because we couldn't have any audience. So I did that in February. Very successful. They premiered, opens up their 6-month solo story festival. And then here in San Diego, because I'd started shows here several years ago, one of the theaters approached me about producing my show, co-producing with another theater in San Diego. And so in last month, I did the show as a co-production, again, no audience, 3-camera shoot, very successful. They had the press. And so I got CBS Network News, I got Good Morning San Diego, I got the Broadway World, stellar reviews, but it's work I do behind the scenes and because I'm so passionate. So I want to share with you also, for those of you who are introverts, like you mentioned, and you don't necessarily have to be an introvert, but for other people who have big emotional stories, sometimes it's like you're caught between, do I tell my story? How can I tell the story? Or we get caught up in like, so this is a really great presentation. I'm just gonna go forward with it because this will help you. I address all those things. I also talk really about how do you be authentic, which is I think Addison was sharing about. All of my work is about how can you be the most authentic that you can be, because when you tap into that, and you have the skills, you're not going to be in your head, because it's not about anything except getting into your body and your heart and communicating with someone else. You know what your story is, and then it's just the skills to say it in a concise way, in a compelling way, and it's a journey. So I want you to ask yourself, and you might be able to say it in the chat, but I won't be able to read it right now, you know, how soon do you need to be sharing your personal story? I'll tell you that on average, my clients come to me and it's been 5 to 7 years of them thinking about it, even working in top classes, because I work with entrepreneurs and I work with performers. Those are my 2 clients. So some of them are already working in top classes for years, but they never go public. That's why about 2 years ago, I started doing a 6-week Healing Through Story Tell Yours class for entrepreneurs and performers. And at the end, it used to be in person case, and now it's virtual, because I don't want people writing and never getting their story out, because I can't even think about, I mean, there are so many people who have been affected by me telling them my story and really sharing my message. That's what I want you all to know. It's almost like you're selfish. That's what kept me going. Like, I'm selfish if I'm not telling my story, so that someone who feels so alone realizes they're not, and that someone's going through something worse than them, and they can come to the other side and be having a fabulous life, trust again, love again, things like that. So you want to get real. I say 5 to 7 years, and I've had several people tell me decades. They've wanted to tell their story, and it's been decades. That I do not want that to be you or anybody watching this. So at the end, I will share how I can help you go forward. And then you want to look at what's your biggest challenge. If you want to tell your story, what is your biggest challenge? I heard a few of them. Thank you so much. And like I said, I'll address as many as I can here as to what's really stopping you from telling your story. You're in the right place if you're an expert, a business owner, a speaker, an author who wants to be memorable and stand out in the market through sharing your story, because there are so many people online now. I think it's more important than ever. I know I was thinking about the coaches that I've hired over the last few years. It's always because I remember their story, because there's a lot of people who could teach me business. But then I remember the person who, for me, I gravitate toward people who have really gone through like some really rough stuff and come to the other side of it, like been left, had no money, and, maybe a single mother, and then they come to the other side of it and they built themselves back up. Like, those are the things that when it's time for me to hire, I remember that. So that's why it's important to tell your story. You don't have to be completely on the other side of whatever you're going through. You just have to be on the way, one step ahead of where your clients are, so that you can use your story. You're in the right place if you're ready to share your lessons in your market to make the world a better place. Attract clients and opportunities to you by being the most authentic version of you. But the reality is there are 3 storytelling fears that come up that stop people in their tracks. Again, these are all things that stopped me at first. I put up my first version of my 1-person show, and then I took 2 years off. I ended up getting a master's degree in spiritual psychology during that time, because I already was a good actress. I knew how to tell a story. I knew how to tell a joke. People would laugh and cry when they saw my show, and then I'd go home and be miserable. So my thing is I teach storytelling with healing at the same time, crafting and healing, so that you feel powerful and strong when you're sharing your very personal story, if that's what you're choosing to do. Or even if you're doing it to heal so that you're sharing a difference. I'm always about, let's clear up whatever is keeping joy from you, or even more exuberance, or being more bold, keeping secrets. Like, let's clear that up so you can be the most powerful you in the world. So one of the big fears is I will be judged. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. It'll be too emotional. No one will listen to me. All valid. They're all valid fears, but let's tackle them. My story. I went from being a follower who lost everything. I lost my mother, my father. In the moment, I lost my brother too. My brother and I have reconciled, because we had, it was my father who killed our mother, not his. And he knew he had done it. And I just couldn't deal with it at the time. To being someone who was depressed, was afraid to be visible, felt safer not to being a leader in the field of forgiveness. I have a Hero of Forgiveness Award from the Hawaii International Forgiveness Project. I'm also a story that is featured on the Forgiveness Project out of London. Self-love, setting healthy boundaries, and I became an award-winning actor, and I've performed my show for over 12,000 people, and also been a keynote led workshops and I'm teaching this, how telling my story saved me. It literally saved me. Stepping into the role of my father, as an actor, some of you are performers too, I couldn't play him as evil or one note, because you can't play, people don't play themselves in real life one note. So I had to look at the nuances, and it gave me a way in to start the forgiveness process. And it's healed countless others. I don't perform a lot with V-Day. That's a little bit incorrect. I have done my show for V-Day performances as a fundraiser, and I did meet Eve Ensler, and she was the one who referred me when they did the Against the Violence. I can't remember what the name of the festival was that I was accepted into in New York City as part of a fundraiser for that. Because what Aldrin was talking about, you want to have a purpose and a passion, because it'll lead to opportunities. I want to stop domestic violence. I want to stop violence against women and girls, which is the mission of V-Day. So it's natural. That was natural for me to do. And I've brought in thousands and thousands of dollars. And one of the things I want to say is, if you get your story down, then you're bringing in more money. You're probably, I mean, this is what you're all wanting to do. You have to look at the whole scope of the things, your business, how you're using it. If you're memorable, the goal is to bring more money in with your business. You want to be able to do that so that you can do those things that you want to volunteer at, or you want to give a portion of your proceeds to charities and things like that. That's why you want to be the business person that you can be. Because that was something as an artist that I had to work on, right? I had to work on that. Of course, I can make money with my story, and I should be doing that so I can be telling my story more creatively, like I do. And with my process, my forgiveness process, and now teaching other people the same thing. Okay, let me switch to the next one. So I'm going to actually give you a really practical exercise. That, by the way, is one of my promotional materials. Like Alden was talking about, you want to have really great visuals. I had in my mind, I wanted to do this Shakespearean thing because I was familiar with Shakespeare and Hamlet, and made sense. My show is so Shakespearean. It's a very New York show, but what I say, I have about 5 soliloquies from Hamlet in there that when the emotions are too much, because I do that instead of sing, because if I sang, people would run out of the room. And I know I like keeping people in seats in my audience, either virtual or in person. So I'm going to give you a very specific exercise, the exercise I give everybody to find their story. So you don't waste time and effort sharing stories that won't engage your clients, audiences, and fans. My advice to you is that I'm going to give you these 3 steps. And now, you know, I say stage, but I teach entrepreneurs, healers, authors, speakers, how to tell an unforgettable story based on their life on stage and on video. Everything is on video too, you know, nowadays. So I'm not sure if I changed these slides, but I want to make sure that's there. I just put this picture up because I want to also help you get into the feeling tone. It's so much about strategy and also feeling into the energy of your big why. The picture on top is me doing a talk back after my presentation at a festival in Sedona. The bottom is a piece from a show I did probably in LA or maybe Arizona. I can't see it. I've done over 200 podcast, radio, TV show interviews because I am passionate about my message, storytelling, empowering people, being bold, and stepping into the spotlight and forgiving yourself and forgiving others so that you're free. Michael Beckwith is one of my mentors when I lived in LA. And what was so amazing is once you step into your power and really boldly take the stage, you realize the oneness of everything. So I was telling at 1 or 2 conferences that he was the keynote speaker for, which was amazing to me from someone who years before was studying his church and just like trying to, you know, get my life back. The top is a magazine out of London that I was on the front of because I performed my show in Vienna a couple of years before then. And then this is the thing about feeling tone. The one on the bottom, my bottom right, I was in Hawaii just visiting but I saw this podium and I had this feeling inside that I'm like, I want a picture. My ex took a picture of me at the podium and it was just speaking, and I had this feeling. And here's the thing, I was on vacation there. I followed that instinct, kept saying yes to that intuition, and it ended up being the most incredible 3 months. I was supposed to be there 3 weeks. I was invited to stay, free place to stay. I got my forgiveness award. I spoke all over. I did workshops. I did my one-woman show, the Hero Forgiveness Award, and I got Fox TV News coverage. Like, and it was 3 months. But it all started with me following my intuition. So that's why that's up. Briefly, just an example. Of course, I don't know if I can even read the whole thing because this box is cut off, but this is a client of mine. No, I can't move it. This is a client of mine who was already a very successful singer. She sang in a lot of spiritual communities, but she had a really big story. Her story in particular was about attempting suicide, and she didn't know how to put it in to her piece. She wanted to not just sing other people's songs. And so she just says, I can't even read the whole thing. The raw honesty and perfectly timed humor Brenda has in her show, My Brooklyn Hamlet, inspired me. Can't read it, but you guys can read it because it's cut off. But it's about being all of yourself, being kind to yourself, and making a difference. Because not only was she now making a difference singing, but she was making a difference in people's lives because she was being so honest. That was another client, but that was about teaching her how to confident on video and how to sell on video. And I just kept that one in. Again, I'm not going to read it because it has to do with the fact that I'm a director. I direct people. I direct them on video. I direct them with their stories. I direct them for stage. So your turn. 3 steps to successfully make your story unforgettable. So my pinky promise is that I'm going to give you these 3 steps. And by the time you leave, if you can take notes also, that if you take even one of these steps, you're going to move forward from where you are right now in your storytelling process, having an impact with other people and healing yourself. So the first one is to find the right way to share. I know everybody comes here with different experiences, and sometimes you've done some work. This works. I've worked just this year and a half alone. I've helped about 80 people tell their stories because I do these in person and now virtual classes, and I help them literally in 6 weeks. I have helped them develop a short 5 to 11-minute piece, and I direct them. This is the exercise I give every one of my clients, also my VIP clients, everybody. So you want to take a piece of paper. Obviously, you can't do it now, but I want you to do this. One of these 3 things I'm telling you to do. You want to take a notepad, not on your computer, and you want to separate your life into 7-year segments. It is like a magic number, 7-year age stages, 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, and on until how old you are. And then I think it's really good to actually do a little meditation, just 2 minutes, or go into silence for 2 minutes or something like that, and ask to remember what needs to be remembered. Ask to be peaceful. Ask for clarity, whatever it is for you. Just breathe silently into that before you do the next part. The next part is you're writing bullet points. I would say 2 to 5 bullet points under each age stage. So if you can't remember anything from 0 to 7, no problem, just leave that off for now, it doesn't matter. I want you to write 2 to 5 bullet points because of the last part of this exercise. This is the part to really start you. What you're doing is you're identifying events in your life. And again, events are not stories, but they will lead to your stories. They're events that are juicy. If it's not juicy for you, it's not juicy for your audience. Juicy. Someone died, someone cheated, you found the love of your life, you got divorced, you had this pet that you had a special bond with. Like, look, I'm being inspired right now. You know, it's something that is juicy, okay? It's not biographical, only. Like I've worked with people that they're like, okay, I quit the job then. And then when I ask them more questions, it's like they quit their job, but there was no juice there. It wasn't like it was a job that they loved. It wasn't like they found their passion afterwards. So that's not what it's about. So don't get lost in writing a lot of events that were not juicy. Everything I teach is about efficiency. So that's why I've narrowed this down. And that's why in 6 weeks I can get people to get them to. Okay, so if you have, let's say, 20 things in one age stage, let's say, and I know you guys can have a lot in one age stage, it's fine as long as you promise me that you're going to do the whole exercise, because it's not about that step. Plus, it's a bullet point. You're not getting lost in writing paragraphs or anything. You're writing something that's going to jog your memory. So, for example, a bullet point for me would be when I was 15, I lost my virginity. Literally, I'd say in under 15, lost my virginity. That's all I'd say. I wouldn't say where it was, who it was with, or anything like that, because I know it, and this is for me. So you're not spending time writing long stories, but if you want to write more bullet points, okay, because you might use it for a book, you might use it for something else, but this is a very specific exercise to get you started, to know what to concentrate on now. Okay, so another example of a bullet point might be, under 5, my parents fought. Okay, I remember the fight. It's very specific to me. If I wanted to put other things in, which I'm not now, we're not going to that part of the exercise, but it would be, my mom was coming out of the bathtub. She was naked. I was a little girl and she was yelling. Like, there's all that stuff, which is a next step. But this step is me helping you find the theme of your life so that you will know what to focus on and what stories to focus on. Okay, and then I might put in a breakup. Let's say there was a breakup at like 35, something like that. You know, that was a really bad breakup. So here's the thing. So you want to write all, and you guys could put questions in the chat if you want, and I'll read them afterwards, but I think everyone is understanding this, right? Can you like put a thumb up or something? I don't see all, okay, good. I see you, good. Okay, I don't see everyone. Okay, so the next step, what I would do is I would do all that and then I would put it away. And then the next day or 2 days later, I would open it again. If there's anything else to add, I would add it. And then you're going to look to circle patterns, to identify patterns. So for example, if those 3 things I told you, well, let me tell you a few other things. Like there was I had a best friend that died when we were both 15. I would put that in there. I, went for my master's degree at 33 or something like that. I put that in there. My mother's death, I'd put that in there. I wouldn't choose everything. What I would do is say, okay, are there any patterns? And I would circle them. So right now, I would say, okay, that fight with my parents when I was 5 actually involved my father cheating on my mother. Okay, when I lost my virginity when I was 15, my best friend ended up cheating with that boy. And my father killed my mother and then, moved in with and married my aunt. So I'd go to those 3. For me, the pattern could be based on, so this is all based on you. So when I'm working with you, what is the lens you're looking at your life through? So for me, it would probably be betrayal, because my father cheated on my mother in that first one. My best friend cheated the second time. And then I might not even pick, I don't know, I'd pick either my father killed my mother or I would pick my father married my aunt as betrayal. I might pick that one more. I'm not sure. But I would look at that and see a pattern of betrayal. Else might look at the same kind of things, I'm just using it as an example, and see it as abandonment, right? Because if I go further into the story, it's like, oh, and that first time when I was 5, my father left for a little while because of that. And then when my friend fooled around with this boy that I was in love with, I lost the boy and I lost her. And then when my father, was with my aunt and they just disappeared, they actually did disappear. So that was abandonment. So this is for you to look at what it is for you. So that is what this exercise is. So how you would use this, the next step is that when you start to see the patterns, because all of my work is about healing too, crafting, healing, sharing, crafting, healing, sharing. When you see what that is, so for example, if I chose betrayal, my show is now about the power of forgiveness. But it was that betrayal that I had to work on emotionally, so that when I'm telling my story, I realize that I am not hurt, harmed, or endangered. Anything that was done was not actually done to me, that I am protected. Like, these are the kind of things that I work on so that I know that I'm safe to share my story, because nobody else has power over me. Those are also things, as far as my life purpose, to work on so that I could love again. You know what I'm saying? And then I can tell my story from a place where there's still betrayal happening in the story on stage, and it's riveting, but I, Brenda, am beyond it. I am a witness to it. And if anything comes up, I heal through it. So that is my process. Okay. A big fear that comes up. I'm afraid to be judged, which I talked about before. And here's what I say. You're being judged anyway. I was. Not telling your story, not using your voice and expressing yourself hurts you the most, and you're getting judged anyway, probably for being small, feeling insignificant, or feeling invisible. So why not go for being courageous enough to inspire others and ignore those who judge? My number one secret to success. I never look outside myself for validation. That will stop you every time. Because you know you're going to get judged anyway. There's an element of taking your power back, and also looking within and saying, well, what's in your power? I can look within and say, am I telling myself something that is disempowering me? Am I saying it's unsafe to be in public sharing my story? Am I saying that other people's opinions of me are more important than me? Am I saying that a review that is not stellar means anything about me? No, it either means the person doesn't get it, or it means I have something more to learn to be a better storyteller. So it could be anything though. There are stories that people tell themselves, like they can't tell their story because someone's going to be upset with them. And then when I do some prompting, it turns out it's often like a parent who was abusive, who lives around, across the country, or has died. And it's an internalized voice of why you're not sharing your story. Here again, it's like, I want you to imagine the feeling of being fully expressed. That's me on stage when I was performing for the Best of the Fest in the LA Women's Theater Festival. On the left, that's me being invited to talk about forgiveness at a synagogue in Arizona. Someone paid me, talk the there because they wanted to see my show and brought me in. I was in a series called the Legacy Series in LA. That's what the thing is on the top. And that's a panel on the at the LA Women's Theater Festival on the bottom, teaching storytelling. So are you ready to believe you will succeed? That's what I want you to get in your bones. And if you're not doing the forgiveness work, self-forgiveness work, whatever works for you, so that you believe that you will succeed with your storytelling, with having an effect on people, with making a difference. So number 2, and a lot of people talked about this too. Let me just check on your, does anyone have any questions? Maybe before we continue, maybe I can answer some questions. If anyone wants to just unmute yourself.
Amazing so far, Brenda. Loving it. We've got people on Facebook too from India have joined us. Asutosh, hello, Asutosh, sending gratitude your way as well. So any questions for Brenda?
And I'll look through the questions you guys had to see if I can pop in any answers here right now. How to be confident. How confident with your story is doing this inner work. Being really clear that, and I have some more slides about connecting with your why, so I'll go into that, and then getting the skills to tell a good story and then practicing them. That's how you become more confident. You become more confident. Like some of the problems with live streaming, I think these days, is that a lot of people go live when they don't I have years of acting skill. I have years of different acting classes, being on camera. Like sometimes we're comparing ourselves, or entrepreneurs are comparing themselves to people who actually have years acting or being in front of the camera. You want to rehearse, you practice, right? You want to be able to not just have to go live if you're not ready to yet with your story. Okay, I'll keep going. So handle the emotions of your story. Do the inner work at the same time as you're crafting and sharing your story. The reason I say that too is that I had to actually take time off. It was really, really, really hard for me. I was in a deep depression after I put my show up the very first time. People would laugh, people would cry, because I'm a good actress, I'm a good writer. And then I would be home and hate my father, love my father in my head. Have the skills I have today. That's why I teach them. I also am a trained Unity prayer chaplain, and I've been coaching since 2005. I started coaching on forgiveness because once I got through what I did, I was like, I have to teach this to people. One of these things I really can't stand these days, at least here in the US, is, you know, sometimes some gurus or guru coaches are like, tell your story, tell your vulnerable story, tell your vulnerable story, but they're not teaching them how to actually, like, there's a reason you haven't told it or you've hidden it, because that was a survival skill. So you want to learn this stuff so that you can heal from it and then share it afterwards or at the same time. Biggest mistake, thinking you can wing it, muscle your way through it, or that you're funny enough, interesting enough, or talented enough to skip the mindset work. It's great if you're funny in life. It's although what happens is I see that if you're not clear on your story, I see a lot of videos where use their personality. That's why you want to do the practice and you want to get the skills. It's great if you're funny and you're interesting in real life, but the thing that I find trips people up is it doesn't mean you're going to get paid. It doesn't mean it's paid level work. That's why I say I direct my clients, because I want you, yes, you can do improv perhaps, and certainly live streaming is much more improvisational, but there's certain things you want to have down. Here, I'm going to do it. Well, now, do I want to do it now? I'd have to stop the screen share, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to give you my story in 90 seconds later when I stop this. Or maybe I can stop the screen and I'll just come back to it. Let me do that right now, because this is what I mean by I tell this every single time. Uh-oh, I've lost my, no, I'm not going to do it because I've lost my cursor. I'm going to say it just with me being small. Okay, because I do this every single time. This is why I want you guys to have your pitch down. And this is also for people who are like, I just have too much of a story. I have to include every. Oh, you do not. If I could squeeze my 60 minutes and my big story into 90 seconds, so can you. This has got me hired more times than I can tell you. Okay, I grew up in Brooklyn with a Jewish wannabe Italian father who taught me how to drive a Cadillac when I was 6 and how to shoot a gun when I was 10. A bohemian artist mom who took me traveling with her all over the world and read Shakespeare to me from the time I was 3 years old as a bedtime story. Big characters, big laughs, big love. And then, and this is true, as it all is, in 1995, my father, who I adored, I was definitely daddy's little girl, shot and killed my mom. And within 2 months moved in with and then married my aunt, my mother's sister. Unlike Shakespeare's Hamlet, whose father was killed by his uncle and his mother, and it is about destruction and revenge. My story, my life, my one-woman show, my Brooklyn Hamlet, is about the power of forgiveness. That's under 2 minutes. That's what you can do, and that's what I want you, thank you. That's what I want you guys to do. I like to work with people where you have a short piece, I do a piece, but I want you to be able to take different pieces and have it scripted. I've literally done a scripted scene from my show on an NPR interview because I said to the host, can I scene? Because I just know it's much more tight than doing improvisation. Brought it to my show and she loved it. Okay. So anyone who's just like, I can wing it, not if you want to be top of your game. I mean, even Jerry Seinfeld, even these amazing comedians would go do comedy shows before they get on television. Okay. You can probably do all those things. You can absolutely muscle your way through things and have some success. I certainly did them too, but it was miserable. And more importantly, it wasn't consistent. So you don't have to be miserable. You don't have, and also you don't have to share anything you aren't ready to share. Like sometimes I have clients that will work on things and then we'll pivot a little bit because they're not quite ready to share those things yet. So it's good to know that as well. Only share what you're ready to share. You are the hero of your life. Okay, you must be, oh, I didn't even know I kept this one in here. Okay, you have to be honest with yourself is basically what that is. But I'm inviting you guys to take the next 10 days and write your story and do the exercises I'm giving you. And when you're writing your story, include real names, because that's also a question I get. You'll stop your muse down if you don't keep real names. Like sometimes people are trying to protect their mother or their father. It's like, use real names. You don't have to share any of it. The secret sauce that really makes it work is connecting to your why and the cost for not sharing your story. Some examples of powerful whys. I certainly started out wanting to save my mother. It made no sense at all. I know, doesn't always have to, but I really wanted to save other women that were in that situation, or men. To help people with clients of mine, I work with a lot of health practitioners. They share their stories so that they can help who have similar health challenges. But we're talking about going beyond just the surface. I lost 40 pounds, let's say. We're going like, how did you feel? And what happened to you that there was this moment that you felt so bad about yourself when you were alone with yourself in your head that you're like, that's it. I have to take care of myself. You know what I'm saying? We're going and authentic with these stories. This is a good one to get you started, that you need to fully express your voice that has been stifled your whole life or portions of it. Or you want to inspire people. Look, this is on here, but this is something with you, Aldwin, like you want to inspire people to know that they can beat depression, and also how many people are suffering with it. If we don't share that, nobody knows, right? And we'll always get critics that say, oh, why are you sharing that? Oh, aren't those secrets and stuff like that? And I say, we are, and you've heard this before, probably, we're only as sick as our secrets. The number one biggest fear, I'm so emotional that I'll cry when I'm sharing or be super angry, and that will turn my audience, fans, followers, listeners off, or I'll get depressed. That's why you want to do this emotional work. This is what I do with my clients when they need it. And obviously go to a therapist if you need to go to a therapist. Do whatever you need to do. I had a client in one of my in-person classes that decided to share a story. She was also an actress. She wanted to share a story about horrific abuse when she was a child. I trust people to know what they need and when they need attention. She spent a lifetime in therapy, and she was going to a sound healer at the time. I'm not uncomfortable holding a space for people going through emotions because I've had to. It's a hard process, but I know the glory that's on the other side of it. And I still remember the day that she came to do the showcase, like during class, she was experiencing like neck pains and this and that. She was getting help because our bodies store that stuff. And the day of the showcase, she was so powerful. It was like, finally, she was able to take her power back from this abuser. Like, that's what I see. So it is a courageous, it's a hero's journey. But what's the option? To stay small? I don't know. You don't have to share like I'm sharing. Maybe it's just yourself to see things how they really are. The first step for me was writing things down on the page of my journal, and to realize, get it out of my head and onto my journal and be like, wow, I have compassion for myself now. Wow, I can stop just jumping to forgiveness and actually first go through the anger. It's about getting your story out, healing yourself fully, experience real joy and intimacy again, and make an impact. You also want to heal yourself specifically in the context of storytelling, so you don't vomit out on stage or in your videos. You're not draining people. That certainly was something I did in the beginning. Like, there's the stages where you don't think you can share anything, and so you're just not sharing it all. And then when you realize you can share, you're just telling everybody and anyone what happened. And that's also one of the things you were talking about earlier. It's like, don't share every detail. Nobody cares about that. I say that because I did that. And I didn't because I was so in my pain, people glazed over, but I didn't know because I was so in my stuff. That's why you want to do the inner work at the same time as you're crafting it. You do want to share what you're doing, but you want to check in with your audience, whoever it is. If it's a personal, it's someone you're talking to personally, or if it's on a stage, or if it's on a video, you'll get feedback from people. And the object with the way I teach is always to be lifting people up. You are in complete charge and you know where to use your emotions and how to pull it back when needed. That's how you entertain, inspire, persuade an audience, and you'll get to the other side of the inner work, and it's energizing. Some more pictures. I was talking about Eve Ensler with V-Day, and that was just it's a film festival, LA. I'm just saying, like, when you get your story down and you're brave and courageous like that, people are inviting you places. Because most people aren't like this. They don't know, or they get stuck. So what is your why? And is it big enough to get you writing and sharing your story? Because life will get in the way and people will judge. And you might not get the money in as soon as you thought you would get it. So is your why big enough? My why is big enough. And if it's not big enough, go back to the drawing board, and actually finding your life purpose with that first exercise will help you. 3 steps. Successfully craft and present your unforgettable story. Time to share your story. Sharing your story with the wrong person. So we're talking about emotional stories now. Instead of waiting until you're emotionally strong enough, you share it prematurely and potentially with the wrong person. That will shut your muse down. There's a lot of people you may want to share your story with, particularly family members who may remember what you've been through. Everything I'm teaching you, remember, is because I've worked with so many people. So I've either made these mistakes or someone's come to me after they've been shut down. They're not always the best people to share with, even though you think they are, because they want you to feel better and they want to take care of you. And most people are afraid of emotions. They don't know that the emotions are just moving through you so that you can heal. And so they may say something that will stop the process of you healing and getting to the next level of storytelling. So when you're ready, find someone supportive to read your material to, accountability buddy that's doing maybe the same work that you're doing, so that you will have the confidence to keep going. Also, I teach classes. I have something running right now called Your Unforgettable Presence, where we're working on video presentation for the first 3 weeks. It's just opening now this week. And we're also working on storytelling for the last 3 weeks of it. So that's a supportive place because I'm running it. It's only supportive, my environments. So to share your material successfully, you want to make sure you're being authentic and not clever. An example of that is when people are trying to be interesting. You don't have to be interesting. You have to be you. You have to be you and know you're enough. Some of the biggest laughs I get in my show are when I'm playing it for keeps, which I learned in this one acting class in LA that I was developing my show in. Play it for keeps. If I love that boy when I'm 15, I am dancing in that disco with my big hair and I am just flirting with him. I'm not trying to be funny or interesting, but it's funny. It's funny. People get to be like voyeurs watching you instead of, oh, here, look at me. You want to commit. There's definitely new humor and there's joke writing, but as long as you're being authentic, that's the best you can ever. Being authentic sometimes is just like taking the layers off of like how we've been covering ourselves up. Don't take any feedback personally. That's probably a hard one, but it's totally possible to do, to get to know yourself and your work so well that when you get feedback, first of all, you can ask for feedback, right? I give people feedback, but get feedback that you don't agree with. Like you want to know yourself so well that you know if the feedback is justified or if someone just doesn't get what you're doing. So you listen and you learn. You get to know yourself more and really work toward not letting judgment affect you. I mean, that's a good skill anyway in life, knowing that the judgment's more about the other person. And make sure you do rewrites. And also don't be afraid to kill off your darlings. I think Stephen King said that to make it a better story. New writers are always like, if this was me too, no, I have to tell everything. No, I have to tell that. And I have to do, no, people don't have the bandwidth to watch your 20-minute video about your backstory or even repetition. That's one thing that I teach. You don't repeat things too much unless you're using it very specifically. So for example, in the very first version of my show, I remember I had to talk about, like, I don't know, 6 trips back and forth to New York, to Europe, to New York, to California. It was just a segment that was explaining a passage of time, but I had to talk about every little thing. And I remember a producer in LA being like, no. And I was even working with a director, but I was working with a director at my stage. And then afterwards I was like, oh, okay, I just have to say, you know, just shorten it. I have to shorten it and say I went, you know, saw my parents on 6 different occasions during the first 9 months after I moved away. That replaced 2 minutes of me going back and forth on stage. That comes with practice and skill. So imagine the freedom you will have when you own your story and you know that you're making a difference in people's lives. Every time you share it, you'll probably pitch media differently when you know that someone could listen to it, just 2 lines, and their lives could be changed because they had domestic violence in their family. You don't know. You don't know what people are going through. So ask yourself, and maybe in the chat, are you ready to start sharing your authentic story and making a big difference in the world? Maybe you're not, now that you see what it takes. But what if now that you see what it takes, it's not so like overwhelming? Now it's like, oh, okay, there's a step-by-step process. Like I said, I've gotten so much down to like 6 weeks is the shortest amount of time, a small piece done. Otherwise it's 3 to 6 months, I would say. It took me years. So now it's time to make good on your promise of which of these steps will you take, or are you going to let this just be more information? Depending on where you are, if you really want to use this in your business, to grow your business, to make a difference. So which of these is it going to be? You know, just choose one. Crafting your story, handling the emotions of your story, which can absolutely stop you. Any of these things could stop you if you don't have a technique. And sharing your story. Sharing your story based on your message, tapping into your why. Will you start crafting your story this week? And if not, why? Or how long have you been wanting to but haven't? Have you identified why you haven't? Maybe it's one of those emotional things. Nothing I've shared today is fluff or made up. It's all proven to work. So that means you can make it work for you, and don't take any shortcuts. You know, why you showed up today. You wanted the inside scoop on how to turn events from your life into an unforgettable story that can grow your income and impact. The first is getting these patterns down. Then there's turning events into stories. So there's a lot of skills with that, learning to put a beginning, middle, and end. When I did that little 90-second, 2-minute pitch, there was a beginning, a middle, and end. I talked about my parents. I made it kind of fun. Then there was my mother's death. And then there was, oh, it's about forgiveness. Beginning, middle, and end. It wasn't just my father killed my mother. That's not a story. That's an event. Oops, I have a typo, I see. Okay. So why you showed up today. You wanted, oh, do I have another one? You wanted tips that could help you get unstuck. Yep, you wanted tips to get you unstuck. And I'm sure I have the typo there, yes, because I copy and pasted. You wanted to money to be made in a story-based business. Absolutely. We know that, right? I mean, people have been selling books since the beginning of time. The most engaging speakers are incorporating stories. You put your story on your website and it helps people remember. So they come back, you tell stories. I've done over 200 interviews. People, I get asked, like I got asked to come here, partly because of my story. That's how I'm memorable. You know, okay. Freedom, creativity, and authenticity. It's time for you to demand success right now and create the business of your dreams based on the lessons you've learned from a life well lived. Who are you not to tell your story and help other people? What's it going to take for you to take what seriously enough to fully, oh, I don't know, I can't even read this, fully express your voice, your creativity, and your power? And you might have questions like, what story do I share? From the exercise I gave you earlier, you'll be able to narrow it down for sure. Doesn't mean you won't have more questions. And that's why if you want to continue with me or you want to find out more about that, you can. How do I choose and how long should each story be? That depends, of course, on what you're doing it for. How do I craft it into a captivating story people want to see and listen to? How does sharing my story add to my bottom line? I have a special bonus coming your way. One-on-one breakthrough session with me, because I know this probably brought up a lot for you. 15. What's keeping you from reaching your storytelling goals, because it's not often what you think. Revealing what will typically happen for you after you reach your first successful sharing of your story. Honest and transparent look at whether you're the right fit to be my next success story in my program, Your Unforgettable Presence, which is about storytelling and video presentation mastery, which I just talked about, which it is open right now. We're in a pre-week training, so there's extra in there. But what I will say is you don't have to join my program to get this 15-minute call. If after the 15 minutes, I won't even talk about it. If after the 15 minutes you want to hear about my program, I will share it, because why would I not share it? Because this is in 6 weeks, I can help you with all of this. And I think you have a link, Aldwin, for that. Your Unforgettable Present is my personal feedback on 4 of your videos. The last time I offered this program was a year ago, because I've been doing all these other storytelling programs and I've been performing. And I'm going to be doing more of that. So I don't know when I'll be doing this again, but I like this combination. The reason why I came up with this is because of COVID and everything all of a sudden was on video, and people were going to be out of business if they weren't doing video. So it's 4 weeks in a private Facebook group. I give personal feedback on your up to 5 minutes inside the group so that you have exponential growth. And it's actually based on the bottom there. I say, I give you my program, You on Video. It's a digital training, $197. So you'll get 24 hours after you join. So you'll get acting techniques. You'll get an exercise on the essence of who you are. I mean, I have for it, but you'll put something up so you can look at that. You get 4 group coaching calls. Our first one is this Friday. It's a bonus one. Otherwise, there'll be 4 more. 4 live stream Q&As. I have amazing people in there already. I only have a few more spots because I'm giving so much one-on-one, but I would love to have 5 more people in there. That's what I would like. I can't do more than that. And then you, on the last few weeks, I'm giving you my storytelling program that's called Getting Naked on Stage, How Revealing Your Story Can Make You Richer. And I'm going to be critiquing in your videos. You'll be sharing your stories in your videos, and you'll be also, selling in your videos, like all kinds of things like that. I'm going to be giving you feedback, and it's an price. I will tell you that. I don't know. We could write it in the chat afterwards. It's the lowest it will ever be offered for. But like I said, you can anyway get this 15-minute one-on-one with me. And after it's over, if you're interested, I will tell you more about it. But it is is of the essence because it's open. Write to me at Brenda@forgivenessandfreedom.com if you would like to get that bonus 15-minute mass media. Write that in the subject line. So we'll jump on the call. I do a lot of laser coaching, so we will definitely get you to move forward during that time. And breakthrough session, bonus 15 mass media in the subject line. That's a $75 value. My email at forgivenessandfreedom.com. I'm not sure what other videos I have. Let me see. I mean, other slides. Yes, schedule today. When I get your request, I will send you to my scheduler where you can set up your breakthrough session with me. Final step, I will send you a short questionnaire that will help me to help you on the call. By the way, getting into the program, Your Unforgettable Presence is patient only, because I only want big results, and I only want you in there if you are ready for it, and we'll devote the time, because I don't know about you guys, but ever since COVID, I'm very careful about who I also spend my time with. I want to be with people who are uplifting. I want to help you. It doesn't mean you have to absolutely be through any kind of big story you've been through, but if you've been through something and you have something to share, I would love to talk to you and see if this is the right next step. There you go. I think that is the last one. Special bonus for you guys here, 15 minutes. And that will only be, the 15 minutes can be scheduled through like Saturday, basically, or maybe Monday, because I want the rest of the people in that 6 weeks by then. Okay, so let me stop the share.
Yay, that was awesome, Brenda. Thank you so much.
Am I still pinned? Let's see.
Amazing. Yes, you might still be pinned. Oh, speaker view. Here we go. We'll go back to gallery view. There we go. Amazing. We've had such great feedback. Some people had to hop off the Zoom because they had other appointments, etc. So thank you for those who have stuck with us. We're going a little bit over time today, so if you can stay with us, we've got giveaways shortly. And I know people just absolutely love that. That was amazing, fantastic, and thank you so much for that generous offer too. For 15 minutes.
I guess I'll go through these.
That will be phenomenal. So does anyone have any questions for Brenda before we come to the giveaways? Any questions on the live Zoom or on Facebook? Checking now. Any questions? Fabulous session. We've got great feedback there in the chat. Fabulous. People love the content. Okay. Really happy. People loved it. Etc. So really great feedback there. Any questions? Yep. Or has Brenda answered all your questions? Just put your hand up if you have any questions. Just unmute yourself. Yes, Colin, you have a question? Awesome information. Thank you, Brenda, from Sandra. Thank you, Sandra. Colin, just unmute yourself and there we go.
Yeah, that's all been very, very interesting stuff. Thank you very much. I just listening to everything you're saying there, I see that I actually have 3 stories I've just written. Almost finished my book, and it's 160,000 words.
Wow.
And that's only from the age of 15 to 30. And
oh my God, wow.
Trying to compress that all in. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I was married as a teenager. It was a shotgun wedding. I was bullied into it, and my parents didn't know I was married for 6 months. The child that was born was stillborn. Right, but I met the stillborn child 5 years ago in KL. He wasn't stillborn at all. It was just a lie. She'd been having sex with 3 guys and didn't know which one was the father. So obviously, because I'm so good looking, no, it was because my father was rich was the reason. I got plumped for being the father. But that's just one of maybe 4 really important stories. I mean, there was 2 suicide attempts in there, and I've detailed those. There was involvement with the police, all sorts.
Well, and that's why with a book, you have the luxury of telling a lot of that, but you still want to focus on the 3 of like, what's the most important point you want the audience to leave with. But with the book, you can do that because mostly my expertise is, presentational. I do work with a lot of authors that I say, okay, well, what do you pick out of that book if you want to promote it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is, and then there was my involvement in politics, which is very, very important. It changed the whole political scene in the UK.
Yeah, but that's probably a separate book.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, it's all in there. I need to now work. Thank you, trying to get that down into
and that's
one
where
story.
That's where you would work with an editor.
Yeah.
To say and also do that work of, well, what's the most important thing that you want the audience to leave? You don't get confused where you don't have too many characters, too many storylines or things like that. That's why I'm saying, like, just from what you told me, there's a couple of books in there probably. And that's what you would do. You would pull a storyline and say, oh, well, the politics thing is really interesting. And you might put a little bit from something else that feeds into that, but it would be focused on that probably without.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to the book, Colin. That's amazing. Wow, fantastic. Alison, you have a question there, do you? Just unmute yourself. Yep.
Yes, please. Oh, thanks, actually, Colin. I'm interested in reading all the books.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Thank you, Brenda. And it's actually interesting what Colin was saying, because mine's the opposite. So, you know, you're talking about those 7-year life stages.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like my story, because I've had a fairly, you know, I always used to say I had a really boring life, because it was kind of quite, you know, normal, whatever normal is, like nothing dramatic, like no, you know, economic issues or violence or alcohol or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I was 53, I ended up, like I said, my whole world fell in on my head. I was off work because of work-related stress. I had some health issues like mini strokes and stuff. In the middle of all that, my 25-year-old marriage dissolved. My husband said he was out of there. And so that is kind of my story, I feel. And it's through that I've got into coaching. And now because of that, my passion is to help other women of whatever age to sort of, you know, get in touch with who they are, be true to themselves, because I had a strong sense of self-love, I came out of that as well as I did. So that's part of what I do now, the whole self-love thing. But also just in terms of the story, which I've kind of left behind now, because people are sort of saying, you know, like various business coaches and stuff will say, just focus on one thing that you offer. So now I've gone on to self-love, which I'm passionate about, so don't get me wrong. But in terms of using the story, and I've also done some of Sam's training, Aldrin, is using the story in a way that is powerful. But I don't know that I've got those 7-year stages. I don't know if I'm making sense. So it seems like the only part of my story that's relevant is that year that it all fell apart. And I guess what I'm really
how I would use it, how I would actually coach you would be to do a little more in-depth work about what happened in those other years. I mean, there's a story in that. If it was really idyllic, then there's a story in just having this idyllic life and then it crashing down. But with everyone I've worked with, it's not ideal. There's stuff in there. There's someone that's left. I had one person who also was like, I just didn't have anything that was dramatic. But then I talked to her and she didn't have anything dramatic like me, but she had like extreme loneliness. Her mother was a narcissist. Like nobody was there for her. That's a story in itself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say there's something there, and I don't know because of the story, but where you didn't learn a skill to take care of yourself when things go apart was so idyllic. Like that in itself. It's like, here I am, whatever age I am at, and nobody taught me to do when things fall apart. My parents didn't tell me any of the problems they had in their marriage or anything real. You know what I'm saying? There's stuff like that.
That's an awesome insight. So thank you. Yeah, because it wasn't idyllic, but there's certainly, it was trouble-free for the most part. But I'm sure, as you said, when I drill down, I'll find that there are elements there that kind of fed into later in life.
Yeah, where you didn't maybe have the skills or something didn't like complete, you didn't know what to do, or you didn't know how to ask for help, or all these other things. Yeah, that's cool.
I was looking for something, whatever. Yeah, no, get it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Alison. I just thought of another part to my story where I shared earlier about how I got ripped off with that unit. And how I wanted to live in America, right? And I still love America, and I've got family in 4 parts of America. I've got family in Seattle, Pennsylvania, Orlando, and San Diego.
Wow.
And amazingly, right? So I have family over there. And what's happened now, before COVID, every year for about 4 years, I was traveling to America for a month at a time. So even though I don't live there, I've had the great fortune to be able to travel there several times. And, you know, considering the state of America lately, I'm very happy actually to be in Australia right now. So, you know, my heart goes out to everyone over there too, suffering right now. But, you know, it's interesting how these twists and turns can happen, and, you know, you just make the most of your situation.
Here's the thing though, like with your story, what I would say, like, it's so interesting. And like you mentioned about the guy that took you for the money, like what interests me in that story even more would not even be a lot of it. And I know you're focused on gratitude, but it's like, no, I want to know what happened that night that you found out you were scammed. Or like the part, you know, the part of like, that all of is lost moment before you jump to the gratitude.
Oh, got it. Yeah, well, what happened is I turned up at the unit because he gave me the keys, right? But he was doing a runner anyway because he was 3 weeks behind in his rent, as I found out. So I turned up at the unit and the place just had rubbish everywhere. There was like rotten eggs in the sink. The door to the balcony didn't close properly, like it was stuck. Like it was just, the whole place was a mess. And so I knocked on the unit next door and I said, do you know when the people are going to come back and clean the unit? And she said, have you spoken to the manager? And that's when I spoke to the manager and he was furious. He goes, that guy owed me 3 weeks in rent. And
right. So that's the interesting story. So how you build it up is what you do is it's like idyllic of like, oh my God, I'm coming to America. Oh my God, I can't wait to go to my place. Like you build that up so that the audience is right there with you and they get the hit like you do. And then you move into the rest.
Gotcha. Right. So
that's the kind of stuff.
Right, really working with those emotions to take it high and then like, yeah, got it. Yeah, that's awesome. That's gold. Yeah. Fantastic. Isn't that funny? Like sometimes we're too close to our own story.
Oh, we're always too close to it. We're often too close to it. Like it's so clear in our head, but the audience doesn't have it. And you really want to take the audience on that ride with you. That's what makes them alive. And that's what activates to do the next step. For them. Yeah, beautiful. Wow, that is awesome. And that's where working with an expert, of course, who's going to see the gems of your story. Like quickly. And I do it quickly. I feel really grateful. Not only I feel grateful, I have a 3-step forgiveness process. I'll do this quickly, but I do feel grateful. My third step is gratitude, not for what happened, for what I learned, for the fact that I get to share this, the fact that I get to hear your stories, that people trust me, and that because of all the work I've done with my story, I can help other people tell theirs quickly, Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, Brenda. Whereas some people with your kind of story, they might have crumbled or been drug addicts or suicided or, all of that is also possible for people that don't handle some of life's circumstances well. And, they say everything happens for you, not to you in life. And, sometimes we kind of think, why does this stuff happen? And I think, we just don't know. I just say, look, it's like the roller coaster ride of life, right? We have our highs, we have our lows, we go round circles. Sometimes we feel like we're going backwards, but just stay on that ride. And it is an adventure. It's an exciting ride. You don't know what's around the corner. And, if you expect the worst to happen, then you'll always be happy, right? But if you expect the best all the time, then you're probably going to feel some letdown, right? So
I've tried both of those though, but I did try expect the worst. But what I found with that is I was living like flat. Right. And I don't want to do that. So I'm back on a bit of the roller coaster, but it works for me.
Right. Yeah, amazing. Now, Sandra, do you have any questions before we go to the giveaways?
No, I don't have any questions at the moment. It was just fabulous. That's great information.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sandra. Well, look, everyone watching this right now, feel free to just pop in the chat. What did you get out of it? Let's cement these learnings we got from Brenda or anything you heard from my talk today, anything you've heard at all, that just cement the learnings, put it in the chat, either on Facebook in the Mass Media Tribe group or put it here in the Zoom chat. And for those on the Zoom, please do save the chat afterwards. We have some great prizes to give away. Before we get to the prizes, though, I do want to mention some future dates of some of our events. So if you have your calendar or diaries there, if you could just put these dates in your diary for our upcoming events. Now, I'm doing most of the Mass Media Tribe events the first or second week of the month, usually on a Wednesday night, although it may change slightly. So the next one is July 7 till 9 p.m. July 7, that's Australian Eastern Standard Time. We have 5 steps to authentic brand videos, and we have a speaker from New Zealand, video expert called Nicola Kane, coming to speak at that one. July 7, 5 steps to authentic brand videos, 7 till 9 p.m. And then on the 4th of August, we have Brad Delaney, who's the headshot photographer, the headshot guy. He's talking about being photogenic is teachable, 7 till 9 p.m. again on August 4. 7 till 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be very early morning, I'd say, for you, Brenda, probably about 1 a.m. for you over in America. Being photogenic is teachable. And then the next one I will give you is September 8. We actually have one at noon again. So we have one in the middle of the day here, noon till 2 p.m. because we have a speaker from Canada. So I'm just working with the times over there. And our speaker is September Smith, who's a lovely lady I interviewed yesterday about podcasting. And she's going to talk about podcast guesting for PR, profit, and profile. So that will be September 8 from 12 till 2 p.m. And it's remaining online on Zoom. I'm not sure really when I'll go back to doing physical events or if I even will do many physical events moving forward, because I do love the Zoom platform. Although we did a Speakers Tribe Queensland event yesterday at the Hinterland Hotel. We went back to physical with that event, although I do enjoy reaching more people on Zoom, I must say. So at this stage, we're staying online so we can reach more people around the world. All right, we have lots of prizes. I would say everyone's going to be a winner here today because we have prizes for all of you. So thank you for staying on the Zoom. Of course, you have to be on the Zoom to win. Now, Brenda, do you have a prize for us today?
Well, I do have the 15-minute coaching session. So that would be for anybody who awesome. They just have to email me and say that mass media bonus and they get that.
Awesome. So everyone's
I can pop something in the group. Like I have a PDF called Step Into Your Spotlight. I can do that too, potentially. Awesome. I just don't have the URL.
Okay, great. Step Into Your Spotlight. Okay, great. So PDF so we pop that into the Mass Media Tribe group. Excellent. So maybe you put the link under the live stream where this is streaming to right now.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much. I have 2 tickets to give away to the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass coming up on June 23, $97 tickets. So I have 2 tickets to that to give away. Angelique also has a free clarity session to give away worth $150 for anyone who wants to speed up the healing process and own your power, as we mentioned earlier. So she has a free clarity session to give away. Was there anyone else wanting to donate something here on the live Zoom? Yes, Alison, just unmute yourself and let us know.
As I said, I'm an extended disc behavior analysis practitioner. So I was going to give away a test, which is a paid test because the free ones aren't as scientifically robust. And that comes with a report that I then spend an hour or thereabouts with the person doing the unpack, because, you really need to have some training to know what the report actually means. So I'm happy to give that away.
Awesome. And what's the value of that, Alison?
The value of that would be $500.
$500, amazing. So a disc analysis profile unpack.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is phenomenal. And disc profiling is very powerful. So check that out. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you my wheel of names and we'll give these prizes away. Share the screen. There it is. There's our wheel of names. Now put all our names in here. So the first prize I will give away is, we've actually got more prizes than people on the Zoom. So we'll change. We'll change it because you have to be on the Zoom to win. All right. So the first prize we'll do is the media masterclass. Okay, Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. Spinning the wheel. Now, if you're coming, it's funny if I win it myself. Brenda, congratulations!
What did I win?
You won a ticket to my masterclass. Awesome. So you want a ticket to the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. You'll absolutely love that. I know you've had 200 media spots yourself, although
that's okay. I can always learn more. Great.
Always more. So that's June 23. It'll be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. our time. So it'll be your night time, June 22, or your afternoon coming in tonight. Okay, awesome. Okay, the next prize we'll give away Angelique's clarity session for healing, and that's worth $150. So let's do Angelique's one now. And that goes to Sandra. Sandra Hayward, congratulations. Congratulations, Sandra. All right, and we have now, are we missing some? We've got Alison's disc. Okay, we'll do Alison's now. Okay, Alison's disc profile analysis goes to Colin. Congratulations, you've won. So I suggest with all the winners, just connect with each other And Alison, as a final gift there, I will give you another ticket to the Free Publicity Secrets masterclass. So if you have anyone you want to invite to that one, you can pass it on, or you can reattend yourself if you'd like to get a refresher.
Thanks, Aldrin.
Awesome. Congratulations. I'll stop the share now. All right. So as we wrap up today, thank you so much for staying with us. As we wrap up, any final words from anyone want to share what you're grateful for or what you got out of today? I'll just unmute you before we end this. So yes, please share email addresses, save the chat on Zoom where you're watching this right now. Anyone want to share what you're grateful for today or what you got out of today before we wrap up?
I'm just grateful for the fact that we had this opportunity to hear from Brenda. So thank you both, Aldrin and Brenda. And lovely to meet everybody else as well. So beautiful. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Alison. Thank you so much for attending, for your time today. And it's our absolute pleasure to be of service to you, and so glad you got some great info out of it. And of course, you can always go back and watch the replay on the Mass Media Tribe group if you missed any of it. That would be wonderful.
I'm also really grateful to have had this opportunity to share about what I know, and it sounds like it was very helpful for people. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing, Brenda. We're so grateful for you, Brenda, for coming and being with us today. It was an awesome presentation, and you are just so inspiring as a human being as well, a magical person. So I'm so grateful to have met you. Thanks to Chris Howard for the connection.
Thank you, Chris Howard.
Thank you, Chris. Love
so
your
awesome.
work. And Sandra, are you waving because you have to go, or okay? All right, Sandra, we'll see you soon. Colin, do you want to share anything?
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Anything you're grateful for? No? Okay, all good. All right, well, stay connected. Mass Media Tribe group on Facebook. We'll look forward to seeing you there. And Aldrin Alternate, if you follow me on Eventbrite too, you'll get all our event updates. We have the links there for Brenda's course as well in the chat. So I suggest save the chat and stay connected and support each other moving forward. And here's to you have an extraordinary life moving forward, and here's to your media success. Thank you so much for joining us at the Mass Media Tribe event. Aldrin Alternate signing out. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, everyone. Please watch this. We'll see you at the next one. Bye.